your turn to
Oh, is it for me?
consider yourself fired.
Why are you winking at me?
Consider yourself fired.
Hello, and welcome to the JT and Drew Show. I'm JT,
And I'm Drew.
and we're two nobodies talking about nothing.
Consider yourself fired.
It's like a half a hair off.
Yes. Not quite a back hair, because those are kind of long these days, but yeah.
Well, that was,
Oh, are we on?
we are on back hair.
Oh.
That is terrible to
Embarrassing.
hear. Yes. Yeah, I would not like for that to be on the show, but it's already on the show. Welcome back, bud.
It's been a while since you braided it, so we won't tell that part.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, how have you been? Did you have a good weekend?
You know, it was there. Not a lot going on. I heard a couple of things that we need to discuss there, sir.
Oh, sounds like a talk is about to happen.
Yeah, it is. Yes. What was her name again?
Which one?
I kid.
Oh, yeah, me too.
No, man. So, have you heard?
The Muffin Man?
No, that's Do You Know. There, let me see if I
Oh,
can do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man. I can't. My voice doesn't. The Muffin Man.
Ooh, that went dark quick.
That Muffin Man lives in the crypt with the lady from the BX.
Yeah. Oh.
Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
No, that's 100%
Hashtag-
not sorry.
Hashtag you know if you know.
Yes, sir. I unfortunately know.
But have I heard what now?
Oh, have you heard Zelensky?
Oh, I know that name.
Yes. Vladimir Zelensky, comrade.
Yes, Comrade Zelensky from near the motherland, yes?
Yes, near the motherland. That's a terrible. I can't do Russian.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm better at Scottish, especially when your mother's telling stories about me again.
I love it.
No, so Vladimir Zelensky almost got tied up there. He's been traveling, man. You hear he's out of the country. He's traveling. He's trying to sell Ukraine to the world.
Yeah. I recall a while back when he came out to, what was it, the Video Music Awards or Music Video Awards or some Hollywood thing he came out to, red carpet event.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I thought you guys were in the middle of a war. What are you doing over here visiting this event?
Yeah, so he is out and about with world leaders trying to convince them that Ukraine is making headway in this war.
I thought Ukraine was winning. Like, from all the media we've seen, you would think, like, yeah, Ukraine won like 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's what you would think, because the media wants you to think that. However, the latest polls is that Ukraine, at least in Bakhmut, I don't know if you've heard of that town, Bakhmut.
No.
But it has been brought up in the news lately. As of yet, and as of this recording, they have one block left of that city. The Ukrainians have been kicked out of Bakhmut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. However, but Zelensky is saying that's not right. The Russians aren't in Bakhmut. We own Bakhmut. What? So the latest information
Okay.
from not great sources, and like they're very pro-Russian, but they have said And some YouTubers out there have said, who are following this a lot more than I am, have said that Bakhmut has fallen and it is now under Russian control.
That doesn't sound very promising.
Doesn't sound very promising at all, especially when you think that NATO is sending in advisors and sending in ammo and the defense systems, and now the U.S. government
don't tell me.
Yes, sir. The U.S. government, President Uncle Joe Biden, has signed off on sending them, drumroll please, F-16s.
There it is, folks. You know what? At least he's keeping his word, right? Oh,
right.
Wait.
He's totally not.
He said he wasn't going to do that.
No, he said he wasn't going to do that. He also said he wasn't going to send them tanks. Did that.
Didn't he say, too, like, we're not sending troops?
Yeah, we're not sending troops. However, it has come out that we had 14 advisors in that country.
Ah, yes. Solely advising.
Yes, solely advising. Well, I mean, think about it, right? Because when you're handing over trillions of dollars in assets, you kind of want Americans there to go, yes, check, it made it. Yes, check, it made it.
Yeah.
Not hey, all right, everybody get on the gun range. Let me show you how to shoot something. Oh, and I'm going to yell at you. And technically, I'm like a drill sergeant.
But they keep, the rhetoric is that this is Putin's war. Putin's war. And nobody else is involved. Especially not America. However, if we're not involved, what do you call us funding this war, essentially? What do you call us giving them, like you said, supplies, equipment, ammunition, tools, weapons? I mean, everything under the sun except for maybe not having troops on ground deployed to be in this conflict and declaring an actual, war or a campaign or something to that nature.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the old, I'm not touching you, but I'm touching your shirt, but I'm not touching you.
Yeah, but don't tell Mom.
Come on.
Yeah, man. So, I'm curious on how many countries are going to get involved before it is officially declared. Like, what has to happen? Because we're already there. We're already supporting Ukraine, whether financially, with our assets, with our old stock, or the M1 tanks, now F-16s. Like, when is war officially going to be declared? Because we're highly invested in this, and you can't say, well, it's about the old Cold War and all of our enemies and that, and blah blah blah. You can't do that. Like, at this point, it's we are either in it or we're not.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Biden regurgitate that that Zelensky promised that none of these F-16s will be flown or used to engage in Russian airspace, like on Russian territory? They're only going to be in Ukraine.
They're only for air superiority over Ukraine. They cannot cross into Russian territory. Don't think so. Come on, bud.
So a quick Google search shows, as of February 2023, military aid was donated by EU institutions and 45 sovereign countries, companies, and other parties.
Mm-hmm.
This, and I'm not trying to compare apples and oranges, because that's I guess what it is. But it's sounding to me like the beginning of a Afghanistan or a Vietnam, right? Where you go into this conflict, it shouldn't be something that takes forever. And here we are, year 1, year 2, year 5, 10, 15, and hey, 20 years down the road, maybe we should, who wants to end this thing? Are we tired of it yet?
Yeah. Well, I would compare this to Vietnam, right? Like, we're not there yet. We haven't gone in to mentor the Ukraine soldiers in the battlefield.
Not publicly.
Not publicly. But we are kind of dipping our toes in that direction. If it hadn't already been dipped in yet. Publicly.
Yeah.
So, you know, I hate to be the tinfoil hat guy or the person who cries wolf, but welcome to war, America. Again. Let's see how good we do this time, and won't be an Afghanistan withdrawal.
Well, and we're not engaged in this war. However, according to the State Department at state.gov, again in February of this year, the United States takes sweeping actions on the 1-year anniversary of Russia's war against Ukraine.
Okay. What are we sweeping? Dust under the rug?
Hmm.
In other news that has to do with this, there was a Navy SEAL or a Green Beret, and don't take that to the bank because I'm not 100% which one it was, but there was an individual who was prior Navy SEAL or a Green Beret who was killed in one of the battles out there in Ukraine. I don't know his name. I know that his family has been notified. I do know that he was a civilian, so he was out there on his own. But an
part of one of those groups.
Yeah, but an individual who fought and died for what he believed in, and as a veteran brother, you know, it's sad to hear that.
Yeah, definitely.
But he knew what he was getting into, so, and I hope he feels good. He died for a good cause, which I would say he did. I'm not saying that I back Ukraine or I back Russia or anything like that. You know, he went out there and he fought for something that he believed in, and more power to you, bud. And you will not be forgotten.
No, yeah, definitely. It says here you were talking about Bakhmut earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's where he died. He was a retired Army Special Forces who was working alongside the Ukrainians and died in a barrage of artillery in Bakhmut.
Okay. But it still doesn't, they haven't released his name just yet?
No, yes, they have. American Nicholas Mamer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, I mean, fellow, brother in arms. Obviously, he felt strong enough to go over there and be a part of that cause. It's a real crappy situation all around.
Yes. So I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, this has all come out to light and everything. When do you think Ukraine's counteroffensive is going to happen? Because it was supposed to happen in the spring, and then it got pushed back, and then we had that leak that came out, and that was all over the news. So then it got pushed back again. And now we're hearing that Ukraine's highest general he's MIA, but he could have been KIA'd during the same barrage of artillery.
Yeah.
So do you think it would be in the best interest of Ukraine to go ahead with the counteroffensive in that area? Well, maybe not in that area, but in a different area. Or do you think Ukraine needs to just cut its losses and try to just defend what it's got now?
I think it's a tough call.
I mean, obviously, you're not a general making those big old decisions, but...
Yeah. I think with the limited knowledge that we have on it, it's a tough call. You look at General Milley, who came out saying that, Russians are continuing to pay severely for what they're doing, and that the Ukrainian forces are highly motivated to fight for their country and all this stuff. But then we see media that shows where families are being torn apart because Ukrainian government officials are coming and pulling males to go fight.
Yeah. Well,
so, I mean, it looks like, obviously we know a lack of resources because everyone else in the world is funding this thing and providing them munitions.
Right.
You know, when do they run out of people?
Yeah.
On either side. I know, like, when I was in Kandahar, the bad guys there would use mortars and rockets and stuff to attack, and they were using old Soviet munitions that they had procured.
Right.
But I mean, the stuff was kind of, I don't want to say it was like a 50-50 chance that it would work, but there was some doubt that, hey, these things may not work the way that they think they will. They're old. They're cheap. This is stuff from like World War II. But they're using what they've got. So both of these, Russia, Ukraine, using what they've got, using our leftovers or Germany's leftovers or whoever else is funding them, supporting them. I think it's just kind of a battle of who's going to outlast who. Not necessarily who's the bigger, stronger, more powerful, motivated, anything like that. It's just kind of who can withstand it the longest.
So pretty much you're just saying who's got the bigger stick.
Yeah, who's got the more willpower to hold out.
Yeah. Well, I think eventually this war, once Ukraine starts losing men and women, because there's women fighting this war too, I think once they start losing their personnel, you'll start seeing the Russians kind of push more towards Kyiv, and then eventually, and I, again, tinfoil hat conspiracy guy, I think personally that Russia is going to be so upset with how the way the world has handled this that they're just going to go ahead and pick a fight. And I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe that Poland or Finland might be the next victim.
Well, you got to look at too. Okay, so we've kind of talked briefly about all these people supporting Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Who's supporting Russia?
China. And North Korea.
China. North Korea I'm not so worried about. Yeah, they've got some capabilities. But, I mean, they could be wiped off pretty easily off the map. China.
You don't like Rocket Man?
I think he's funny. I did some time in the Pacific, and it was my favorite AOR.
Yeah.
And a lot of interesting stuff out there on him. But China, who for the past, 2 decades at least, have kind of just been in the background. Hey, America, yeah, you do your thing. You're in Afghanistan, whatever. We're going to build up the South China Seas. Oh, no, we don't like that. Don't do that. What did they do? Did they stop? No. They built up. They've built up their Navy. They've built up their Air Forces.
They're pushing
new
islands.
New technology in these weapon systems. They are, in my opinion, a bigger threat. Now, if that bigger threat is backing the current threat, which would be Russia, okay, now we've got more of something to worry about.
Right.
And that, to me, is very interesting. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole, but I'll bring it up real quick. With our country and our current regime and all the allegations of their meddling or their money laundering or their Chinese interests and stuff, and how we know, you don't have to be blind, you can see that China, what they're capable of and their role and everything. And for us to just kind of dismiss them. Oh, yeah, China, no, they're not a thing. Because if I say they're a thing, then, I don't get that money that I was promised or those investments or fill in the blank.
Right. Well,
now, I don't think that they will just blindly support Russia.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if the U.S. and its allies push the right buttons, China may step in and go, okay, hey, look, you guys are being buttholes. I'm going to give you strike 1, 2, 3. Let's do this.
Yeah. Well, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, or our audience can correct me if I'm wrong, I think the U.S. is on strike 3 with China, trying to back Taiwan.
Well, we are, but we're not backing Taiwan.
No. As of late, the news has come out that says we will back Taiwan. And China, what was it, about like a month ago or so, did a blockade of Taiwan and its entire islands that are out there.
Yeah.
Because Taiwan is more than one island.
Yeah.
But it blockaded its whole islands. And now, since the U.S. has been sending like our speakers of the House, because more than one has gone out there, they're saying, all right, you're doing too much, and we do not agree with you backing this. And the U.S. now coming out saying, China, if you do something, we're going to go ahead and back out. Now, on the heels of that, we sent in, 7,000 troops?
Yeah.
And the moment China kind of like flexed its muscles, we got them out of there.
Well, but you got to remember, all this doublespeak, and I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that I'm for China and against the U.S., but you've got to look at the doublespeak, right? China, we support the one China policy, meaning that China is its own thing. There is no China and then a separate Taiwan that's not a part of China and blah, blah, blah. But then us telling Taiwan, hey, Taiwan, if China does anything, we will step in and we have your back. But China, again, we don't want this and we support one China. Well, which is it? Hey, I go to the Cowboys-Eagles game. I'm a Cowboys fan. I really want the Cowboys to win. But if the Cowboys win, I mean, I don't necessarily support that. You know, I'm just a neutral football fan. Well,
Yeah.
No, which side of the freaking aisle are you on? Pick one.
Hey, I'm going for the refs.
That's what I'm talking about. The real MVPs.
Yes. So China, being the tough guy that it is, and it pushed the U.S. forces out of Taiwan, who's really going to lose the sanction war, right? Like, I know I kind of went from one to the other. So we've put sanctions on China. China's put sanctions on us. Who's really going to lose this war? Is it going to be China or is it going to be us? I'm thinking it's going to be us with the way our economy is going right now, and all of our big box stores, not all of them, but a good mass majority of them. Any and everything that you see in the store is made from China. So if China says, you're done, all of our stores are gone.
Oh, yeah, we rely heavily on them, and we're indebted heavily to them.
Yes, and they own quite a bit of land. Here, how that's even possible, I have no idea. But
well, and sanctions are a joke. Look at with Russia when it was kicking off with Ukraine, and Biden, we're going to sanction Russia.
Yeah,
didn't do a damn thing.
No.
And then he came back and said, well, they weren't supposed to deter him from doing anything. It's just a punishment.
For
okay.
What?
You think
That's
it's really
not even a slap on the wrist.
No, it's not. So us doing that with China, yeah, good luck. Go to China. How much do they rely on the United States?
Yeah.
Oh, this is made in America, and we have to have this. If they pull that away from us, we're screwed. No.
And think about it. China makes, what is it, 60 to 80% of all medications that are imported in here. Now, we do import stuff from other countries, and India being a big one for imports. I think that's, 15 or 20%. But the ingredients that India makes with those medications come from China. So it's like old Rome. All roads lead back to China. All roads lead back to Rome. You know,
Yep.
it's hell in a handbasket. There's no other way I can put it. We are not 100%, but a good 80% connected to China, and they've got us by the balls, man.
Well, and what are some of the things that we're focusing on?
What?
What are some of the things that we're focusing on as a military? Critical race theory. Don't hurt people feelings theory. We heard that one video the other day where the guy was like talking about how, you know, we outdo any of our opponents in critical race theory. What is that? The DIT or whatever the new thing that they call it. And how our opponents could give two craps about that.
Oh yeah. We're focusing on things that we shouldn't even be focusing on.
We have, and we talked about this in a previous episode, but look at our recruiting shortfalls.
Yeah.
Look at our recruiting in general and the people that we're getting in and how they're having to reevaluate standards just to get people in, whether it's because they're obese or they're just not motivated or they don't give two craps or they're too woke or they're fill in the blank.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. I'm not saying that it's impossible and the U.S. would just be gone in a day, but I think U.S. versus China would be a pretty good fight.
Yes. And China makes all the chips, all the electronic chips that I'm talking about Doritos, but, you know, like all the technological, all of our cyber stuff, all of everything. China makes all that stuff.
Look at COVID. COVID hit, and what happened to car sales?
Plummeted.
You know, we are not getting the chips from overseas because of shipping issues right now with COVID and all this junk. I mean, just one pandemic, so-called, and America, like you said, was grabbed by the cojones and on lockdown for the most part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, a lockdown that wasn't even necessary to a vaccine that was forced to everybody that wasn't necessary. Nothing was ever put in policy. It was all talked out by the secretary, the press secretary, and whatever that individual said happened, like, by the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing was ever policy, but if you don't get it, you're a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we're not going down that rabbit hole. That's another story for another time.
Yeah.
Or, well, we talked about it in the last season. So if you want to hear it, check out the last season.
Yes, please do. And I'm going to do a shameless plug. If you are listening and you haven't already liked or subscribed to any of the platforms, then please do. It really helps us out. If you are subscribed and like a couple of the platforms, go check out the other ones and like and subscribe to those too, because that helps us out.
Yeah.
We're constantly pushing new material out, whether it's full episodes, YouTube shorts, skits on Facebook, what have you. So we have lots of new stuff coming out all the time.
Yeah, all the time, and we're getting a bigger presence on there. So, you know, if you like what we do, support us, help us out.
Yeah, help a brother out.
And
if you don't, you're racist.
Well, that's said by Drew, not me.
JT told me to say that.
I did not. If you like our stuff and you think it's worthy, share it with your friends or family. You know, and let them comment on it, because we would love to get interaction. I think this season, you know, we're early in, but this season we've gotten some few comments, some few feedbacks, and are grateful for it. And we will discuss that in another video.
Yeah. Yep. But this has been a great episode. I appreciate you bringing up these topics, you know, these updates. The world, as we've said many times over, is a crazy place right now.
It is.
And it seems like it's just getting crazier and crazier.
Yep. And There's nothing we can do about it. We are not in charge, but we can sit here and talk about it, and hopefully you'll sit here and listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Great show, bud.
Yeah, great show.
All right, I will talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye. As always, we'd like to say thank you for stopping by and listening to the podcast.
Yeah, we realized that you could have been doing anything way more productive, but you chose to waste your time with us.
We look forward to talking about absolutely nothing with you next time.
If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please email us at
jtandrewshow@gmail.com or visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/JTDrewShow.